Hello, this is Rumor. Thank you so much for joining me today. What you see before you are assorted bundles of pouch pals. You know how I love them. You know how I love them. This particular assortment, though, is here in response to a recent video posted by Marlena Teresa, who didn't necessarily set hers up as a tag per se, but she definitely welcomed responses. And so this is my VR then to her Ultimate Season of the Witch pairing guide. So she does not profess to have the ultimate pairings either, but I thought she did a pretty swell job. I thought her selections were awesome, and I am definitely not claiming that what I'm going to show today are ultimate pairings either. But yeah, I really loved Marlena's choices, and I didn't have to worry about duplicating anything with her because I actually don't own any of the decks that she paired with the Seasons of the Witch Oracles, which are what lie inside these bags. Now, I've got them bundled by seasons. I do have Yule and Imbolc together representing winter, but I will start with Imbolc just for the beginning of the year, that beginning of February, and I'll end with Yule. Now, Marlena does a nice job of going through each of these decks and sharing some of the keywords that I think most of the guidebooks provide, not all of them, because there was that shift in artwork, also a shift in how these little blurbs at the bottom of each card were approached. They started out as more abstractly poetic, and now they're a bit more straightforward in describing the energies of that card. But anyway, accordingly, each season has its own energies. And so I'm leaving it to Marlena and her more thorough job of going through all of this. I'm just going to cut to the chase of the pairings since my videos tend to run long. So I'm really trying to keep this short but sweet in all my excitement in replying to Marlena's video, because I love this stuff. What a cozy video that was to watch. And it feels so cozy sitting with these decks right now. I love this series. I think that they have done a brilliant job. And as Marlena said, I'm kind of in the same camp where I don't necessarily officially, ritually observe each of the Sabbats. But obviously, I feel through and change with the seasons as they go. So I'm not claiming that my pairings are necessarily going to embrace the spirit of that Sabbat if that's something that you are really well versed in and you follow. I'm more so just going with the energies that I'm feeling in the deck itself with the colors and just how I sense the seasons as we move through them. And anyways, a few of these are decks that I've used more than others, and so some of my choices here are just my go-to pairings that were just no-brainers. I love going to these. I definitely pair more than one deck with these oracles. I mean, I feel like the oracle can just kind of sit out at the season it applies to and be paired with whatever else you're working with at that time. But as far as just having good old aesthetic fun and finding decks that really speak well to each other, some of these are my tried and trues, and other ones are new to me because if I haven't had the chance to really use the deck yet, I'm going to feel my way through that this year. But anyway, this is the Imbolc, and how about I start with the backs? Because I like Marlena. I love it if a back can also match between decks. But my go-to ultimate pairing with the Imbolc Oracle is the Raven's Dream Tarot. And if you follow me on Instagram, you saw how I shared my recent reading with this. It was actually the last one that I've done because I just loved it so much. I've just wanted to sit with it. So I've left it out on my desk, not my tarot table here, but these are decks that I just keep over at my work desk. And I'll just pull one from each. Can you just see at a glance here How gorgeous. Like, look, just with that moon in the center, beautiful, beautiful. It's like they were made for each other. And I swear to God, even when you actually look at the cards themselves, they really were made for each other. This was the reading I had done for myself the other day. And it's like I couldn't have picked these two to pair if I tried. Greenhouse, may it be clear the intentions I sow in preparation for the path ahead. Paired with the Page of Cups, which I just feel is so perfect for setting intentions. You've got this burgeoning of spring that's happening in Imbolc, and I see that represented here with the robins. But more obviously, can we see the fox and the raven? And yeah, maybe this could be a crow, but whatever. We've got corvids represented here. And just seeing those two, it was just like, oh my God, this is an ultimate case in point why I love, 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 love these decks together. It's not just the fact that, as you can see, their color schemes, I think, are very well suited. There's a lot of blues and very much a lot of soft blues in this one as well. That gives it that dreamlike quality of the raven. So just color palette wise, they're beautiful together. But you do also see a lot of similar animals and vegetation that might be repeated throughout each of these decks. So, I mean, look at this. We've got the moths right there. And this is the dream realm, which is what this whole deck is. It's the Raven's dreams. And so just having them side by side, it's so delightful to look between the two and find where the similarities are, even if it's not nailing it on the head with an exact same symbol. There's usually just something in the composition that speaks well. And the messages themselves, most importantly, I mean, that should always trump the aesthetics. I think, that the decks should actually have messages that enhance one another. And this one's got it in spades. I love it so much. Oh, a little squirrel in her pocket. Watch as the tides turn in your favor, weaving the waters within and conjuring unspoken desire for the milk moon witch. And isn't that encouraging just when you're in a Five of Pentacles state? You need, and you're hoping for those tides to turn in your favor. They're both just such cozy, cozy decks. And I feel like they both also just so perfectly capture the feeling of winter. Once we're past Christmas, all that festivity is done, and then we just really sink into the quiet of it. But as we're sitting there, we start to see the early signs of spring. So anyways, that is the Raven's Dream Tarot as my ultimate pairing with the Imbolc Oracle. Next up is Ostara, which is brand new to me. I only just received this the other day. So this was definitely a brainstorm. I went through a few of my decks, the ones that I typically go to in early spring. But ultimately, what I landed on for these early spring feels of March at the spring equinox is the Victorian Fairy Tarot by Linnea Weatherstone. This is the original version of it. I believe it has recently been reprinted, so there are probably variations on it, but this was the original that I got many years ago when I was first learning the tarot. And I just wanted to share this. This is a little agate that I keep in the bag because I think it looks like a little fairy ear that you can whisper secrets and wishes into. I just think that's so cute. But anyways, this deck represents all 4 seasons. The seasons are the 4 suits, in fact. So it's not that it's a strictly spring deck, but the coloration of it with its pastels and just that fae energy that I feel in spring, and Marlena said that as well. I very much associate that, and so you'll see for the next deck, I will have a fae pairing as well. So let's look at these face up. And look at these 2 beauties sitting upon their thrones straight away. I did not do that on purpose. That's really cool. Ancestral lands with the Queen of Winter. So here's where you can see all the seasons are represented in here, but even the winter card feels a little summer or springy to me. Mermaids. Yeah, this deck is still in order since I did just get it and have not shuffled it or used it yet. See, 6 of autumn, 8 of summer. But I don't know what it is, and perhaps you can see. I mean, maybe it really is just the more pastel palette of this fairy tarot. I mean, look at that. Well, especially this is a spring card, but it's like, oh, you just feel it there. You just feel it. I love it with the birds as those birds are flying overhead. This is one of those decks where sometimes I second guess what the suit equivalent is. The winter is swords. And autumn is pentacles. I believe summer is cups and spring is wands. It's almost like even if you get a wintry card here, this is the deck that will thaw that. It's 9 of winter. We could be so isolated in fear, but here's a garden party drawing us out. Embrace the coming of things worth celebrating, So that's a great message to kind of get us out of our head if we're in that fear-based state. Trust in and fully embrace the emerging path to who you truly are for germination, alongside temperance. I like it. It's almost like this fairy's playing the fiddle and the fool is being drawn to it. The whispers of your desires are guiding you to trust the unfolding of your story. And isn't that just what the fool needs? That's the thing that beckons him forth. I love that. So yeah, I think that these are going to work out okay. I think that would be nice. Ooh, it is through yourself that divinity is able to weave magic with the fairy bride. Okay, I could probably go on and on and on with this. I think I've convinced myself, though, that I like this as a pairing. It's at least going to be worth trying out this year, and I'll see how it actually plays out in readings. That'll be the ultimate test. But for right now, this is my choice, and I'm sticking with it. The Victorian Fairy Tarot for the Ostara Oracle. So now for Beltane, we're getting to one that I have used before many times, and this is still the artwork of the original artist for this series. 3 of the decks are illustrated this way, where it made a shift eventually for the remaining 5, and I like both. I think maybe, like here, just comparing it with the Litha Oracle with that other artist, if I had to choose, I think I lean towards this artwork, but I still very much like this too. I liked it from the get-go, so I don't mind that there's that difference. There's still something in keeping with one another. So because I have used this deck before, I've got a go-to pairing for it that you might have heard me speak of before. Keeping with the Fae energy of spring, MJ Cullinane's for Hoxa Tarot. I love these decks together. I think any Cullinane deck is a great pairing with any Seasons of the Witch Oracle. But again, just going with like seasonal feels and where I'm kind of feeling like this is where we're getting like deeper into spring. It's not just like that promise of it and that budding and blossoming, but I mean, things are like really out and lush and verdant. And accordingly, well, first of all, nice, right? It looks pretty with this central orb, you know, in both and the coloring. So then looking at them, their actual artwork, and oh, what a gorgeous card to choose for spring, where we see this sprouting seed and the impending growth. But once again, I just think the color scheme, you know, there's a bit of like a deepening of color getting into Beltane from the previous. Some of that golden energy is indicated by the backs and the gilding on the edges, and that certainly comes through in this deck too. And once again, it's just that natural setting, these fae beings with the supernatural that appear in this deck, the flowers, that lushness of it. I always use that word when I talk about this pairing, because honestly, I've talked about this a few times before, and I really need to come up with a better word. but that's what these evoke for me. Like, just look how beautiful with the Empress. We have embodiment. Now unsown from the flesh, a most alluring lullaby stills my pain as the skies bleed for my heart and the embodiment I am to claim. So this is when these blurbs were still a bit more poetic and perhaps more open to interpretation rather than giving a more straightforward message. But I mean, it's like a crone here where we've got a pregnant empress here. I think that the lullaby sounds so beautiful with that, but this is like a lullaby to sing to oneself. And the empress, of course, doesn't have to just be that in that mother state. I think the empress can embody maiden, mother, and crone, just the fullness of that divine feminine. And another beautiful card for spring when you're just thinking of, well, here are the rabbits, probably emphasizing this sense of fertility that we can get with the empress. But just that sense of creation, when everything is in full blossom, and that beautiful spring green. Oh, look at it. We've got the bees in both decks. So again, as I was saying before with the Imbolc Oracle and the Raven's Dream Tarot, these are two decks that both offer so much imagery, which is why I like to usually just draw one at a time when I'm using cards like this together, because there's so much going on in each. And it really is just nice to sit and see what you can pick out of each of them. But they are just both so rich in imagery, to just find those associations with one another, even beyond the card meanings. There's a lot of intuition that gets pulled in here. That even, just like the veins running through the wings there, Council of Monarchs, where this looks like, you know, a butterfly, moth-like person herself. Little fairy beings. Hey, look at this fella. Yeah, and I'm not saying much more on this, I guess, because I'm hoping that it speaks for itself. And because I have spoken of this pairing before and just how much I love it. Ooh. Gosh, the brightness and the fieriness of the phoenix with the moon summoned your flesh rises from the ashes and into the expansive flame of your soul. Similar to the earlier pairing with the other decks where it's like, what a lovely message if you're maybe in a moon state where you're in those depths and maybe can't find your way. There's not enough light to see, but you can draw from that intuition and that fire of your being to rise from the murky depths. Oh, I love that there's a green man here. Okay, I really need to stop, but hope you enjoyed that little flip through for what it was. So once again, the Forhaxa Tarot with the Beltane Oracle. Litha is next. I have used this deck. Well, have I? No, I think so. I don't think I got to use it much though. So I don't have an automatic go-to pairing for this one. So I needed to kind of look through the collection and see what the possibilities could be. But one of the things I was thinking of as I was watching Marlena's video was just this, you're thinking of like June, summer solstice, that early summer feeling. I was thinking of the summer decks that I will use. And, there's several of those, but they all have like quite different vibes. But for some reason, and I couldn't say why, this just always strikes me as a summery deck. That's always the time of year that I'm wanting to use it. And again, I don't know. I think it's just the colors of it. So, back to back here, we don't have an incredible match, but it's not the most off-putting either. Some of the others just seem a little bit more kismet than others. But what you see before you and may already recognize is the Tarot of the Divine. And maybe it is I guess it is largely the bright, vivid colors that makes me feel summery. And certainly there's the folk art aesthetic here that I think complements this deck really well. The artistry looks somewhat similar. And I don't know, maybe it's just think of summer and the kids being off school, and I just remembering what that felt like for me as a kid, where it's just there was so much possibility and so much fun and play involved. And so with the folksiness of this tying in with the folk tales of this, that sense of fairy tale and story, it's like when you get to finally read for fun when you don't have to read for school. I don't know. It's just a feeling. It's hard for me to articulate, but I feel like that's how the seasons are for me. They just give you a feeling, right? And it may be different for some of us, especially people who live in different regions where each season might feel quite differently than it does for someone else in another part of the world. But yeah, so this is another pairing I'm still just kind of assessing and feeling out here. But I'm liking it. I think they look really pretty together. I feel like the colors are nice together. This also feels like fairy tale. Country cottage. It is time for the seeker to look within. What haunts you can only be faced by you. With Eight of Cups, where we are just kind of, I feel, soul searching a bit, finding what's really going to fulfill us. And that's kind of a journey we have to take on our own by going within, a bit hermit-like. But yeah, I just think the colors are looking really pretty. So I think this is definitely going to be worth a try this summer. And I'm just reading this. Summer berries, be wary of picking your harvest too early and risking losing the sweetness of it all. So if you pick it too early, it's too sour. So it's finding that just right balance, and isn't that appropriate with temperance? Aww. I just think these are really pretty together. So, okay, cool. I'm glad. Because in my mind, watching Marlena's video, this was what I was envisioning, and I am pleased to see that actually side by side, they seem to be working. But again, the real test will be when I actually work with them this summer. Heat wave with the Knight of Wands. There is something ominous being illuminated by the flames that await. Ooh, so that might be putting this Knight of Wands in shadow there, huh? Yeah, cool. Like I said, obviously feeling, the summer in here. And so it's not like necessarily the stories depicted in Tarot of the Divine are set in summer or anything, or it's trying to go for that. But you just feel it. You just feel it. Oh, I love this. I think this is Anansi. Like the sun, spread your ray of light and ignite the light in others. Aw, your spirit calls for grounding. That's probably what you need in a very watery emotional state like this. Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I am very pleased with this pairing. So that is once again Tarot of the Divine with the Litha Oracle. Okay, halfway point. Can I speed this up? Should I speed this up? Let's see. The Lammas Oracle. Okay, another one I really haven't had much opportunity to work with. So here we're getting into August, that late summer feeling, which does feel so different from that first part of summer. Because the days are finally starting to lengthen. Maybe that spring greenness outside is still darkening, but here we're into like those deep, deep greens of summer, and maybe even starting to see things start to dry and turn, getting into the autumn, and just the sun is shining at a different angle that just kind of casts a different light on everything, literally. But it feels so different late summer. And again, I guess making that school analogy of like, it's back to school, and that's a very different feel too. You just have that sense of having to prepare for when you do finally get into autumn and you have to get practical about stuff again. It's not just like celebrating the bounty of what you had. You have to put some work in and start preparing for the colder months ahead. So anyway, that's not looking at what the guidebook had to say about it at all, or what those who observe Lammas might have to say about it. But I'm saying that's how I feel with late summer. So I, again, don't have a go-to pair for this one. Haven't tried to pair it before. So again, thinking of some of my summary decks, I landed on this one that is brand new to me. And actually, I haven't used it yet because I haven't felt like using it. With it being wintry and cold right now, it's a deck I feel like I want to use in the heat of it. And that is the Rhythm and Soul Tarot. Same creator as the Southern Gothic Oracle and Southern Botanical Oracle, and I love this so much. It's an homage to the music of the South in the United States, and again, not a summer deck per se, but when I think of the South, I just feel the heat and humidity But then just also that soulfulness of the music, I can see going with this time of year, like the folksiness of this deck going with the folksiness of the music. And that region, I think this is going to work. And I think color-wise too. But backs, not necessarily a match made in heaven. I do like to see a central circle though, to go with the ever-present moon in this series. But I don't know. I did a flip through of these on my own before this video and making the selection in the first place. And I really did feel like a color connection for sure, at the very least. But I also I feel that, like, God, it's such a different feeling than anything that I feel over here in the UK. But being an American and also having, pretty darn hot summers in the Midwest, in Chicago, it's like I get that feeling of, when I think of the South, I can almost sense, again, the heat, the humidity, like the quality of my skin is different. And I don't even mean having like a tan. It's like, it's a bit more, oh God, I don't want to use the word bloated, but almost. It's just, it's more dewy. Maybe this is weird for me to get into that, because why does the quality of my skin matter for, how these decks are representing summer? But I don't know. It's just the feeling that I get from this deck. And so to me, for a late summer oracle, sure, why not? Ooh, so the 4 suits in this deck are different genres of music that have an incredible history in the South. So jazz is our wands, the blues, our cups, the roots are the pentacles, and here we go. The axes, symbolized by guitars, are the swords. So I love this. Because I'm new to this deck, I haven't used it yet. I'm just appreciating that for 10 of jazz or 10 of wands, where you're otherwise carrying a burden, she's holding her tuba. It's good. It's good. So yeah, this is going to be more people populated, where maybe we have more animals, but I feel like there is nature appearing in this, and there's just that sort of like homegrown down homeness to this deck that I just feel goes with the land that's evoked in these cards. And like, oh my God, the artwork is so beautiful in this deck. The cornucopia, that feeling of abundance, don't you just feel that with the 3 of cups? 3 of blues here, amazing. Invite your truth forward and invoke the power of healing, growth, and the true essence of who you are. And that's something you might be able to find when you're in a 4 of cups state. It can have that shadowy aspect of being withdrawn and apathetic, but you could also just be needing to take that time for yourself to go within and find that true essence of who you are. Ooh, just this cascade of yellow and orange with the Queen of Jazz, our Queen of Wands. That's so pretty. God, it's so cool. I love this deck. I again, haven't done readings with it yet. I cannot wait to. Poetry with the moon. How soulful both of these are together, and how they're both sitting in these chairs back to back, just kind of feeling it and expressing it through their own means of art. Oh, that's gorgeous. And the harvest basket with the sun, with Sun Records. It's time to gather the fruits of your hard work and dedication. And isn't that something you get at a recording studio? I mean, my God, it worked out for Elvis, didn't it? Being able to actually imprint his practice and hard work onto vinyl and get to share it. Wheat and grains, you reap what you sow. Good fortune is on the way. with roots, 7 of roots, especially where, I mean, the traditional image, we're like seeing someone just kind of waiting for the right time to reap the rewards of their harvest. And this being in that musical theme, you know, he's gone gold and platinum, it looks like. So that's pretty awesome. But I love like the original connotation of this as well, very much tying in, again, with the land energy there. So I'm delighted with this. I think that this is actually going to be a great pairing. When fear rears its head, no need to be wary, lean in, you're at the edge of evolving. And here we've got the Eon, Judgment. Talk about a card of evolution. Awesome. Awesome. Look at these women in their golden dresses. This is just not even looking at what the cards are yet. This is so pretty. So 9 of roots, 9 of pentacles. So, I mean, this is a woman like basking in what she's earned for herself. And it's paired with Leo. To deny your heart's joy is to deny nourishment to your spirit. So it's like, this is a woman that has given her heart joy. And this is like the product of it. Amazing. It's like so validating for reaching this state. Oh, gosh, vegetable garden with this pan for the corn cobs. I mean, okay, I'm really happy with this. I'm really happy with this. There's nothing to fear. Trust that everything will work itself out. And she's sitting inside, but it does seem to be like a path out there with the birds flying with this 6 of Swords essence of like moving forward and trusting that everything's going to work itself out in that those stiller waters ahead. Oh, God. Okay, I'm going to have to stop because I'm absolutely in love with this. And yet I can't stop. This is just so cool. Ugh. Neglecting to address the weeds within will prevent you from abundantly receiving. And it's almost like, I mean, I'm not saying that these are weeds in this pot, but like figuratively in tandem with this, it's almost like, hey, maybe she's picked the weeds from her garden. So now she can go on to receive more abundantly. Citrine is in this deck. I like that. I don't know if I ever noticed that. Now being guided to reach for the light within yourself. With the Queen of Blues, Queen of Cups. Again, these women like on their thrones. Look how beautiful this is. The wateriness, the blue with her blue dress. Oh, okay, you guys, I will stop. I promise. I'm stopping now. Look, I'm putting my cards away. I'm putting my cards away, ceasing and desisting. I'll stop. But this just like delights me to no end. So this is the Rhythm and Soul Tarot with the Lammas Oracle. Okay, I said I was going to speed up, and I haven't. I think I've only slowed down thanks to the gorgeousness of that last pairing, in my opinion. Mabon, okay, this one is a no-brainer pairing for me. So lucky for you, then this should go more quickly since this is a tried and true. I'm not still evaluating it. I've used them together. I know they are fantastic, and I can't really take credit for this one because I first saw it paired by Dawn Michelle. Marlena mentioned this one in her video too because the Scorpio C deck that she chose is by the same artist, Maggie Stiefvater, who wrote the Raven's Prophecy series. And I don't know, is Scorpio C, is that the name of the book that the other deck goes with? I'm not sure, I haven't read that. But yes, so obviously the Raven's Prophecy Tarot with the Mabon Oracle, and, you know, clearly just from the backs, the orange and black. I mean, this is like, get ready for Halloween, yo! Even though neither one is a Halloween deck. But of course, that's that feeling of finally tipping into autumn. And I love it, I love it, I love it. And when I saw Dawn Michelle showing this pairing, it's like I could practically taste the apple cider and apple cider donuts in my mouth. Like I felt the sugary residue of the donuts on my hands, and I was like standing in the middle of an apple orchard, a pumpkin field, whatever. It just, oh, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful pairing. And again, one that I have used, so I can attest that they speak beautifully together, as well as just looking beautiful together, because there is, well, obviously with the orange borders of this, and just as an FYI, I edged this deck, but because I was fairly new to edging at the time, I accidentally started edging it like holding it this way. And so I got some on the front, and I decided, since I already made that mistake, to just lean into it and do it for every card. So I have this like black, kind of grainy black border on the front of mine. But if you get this, it's just orange with white edges. But anyway, so of course you get that autumnal feel through that, but also through the other colors. And I mean, look, speaking of autumn, you know, we have these falling petals that goes with the decay of nature at this time. Ooh, it's time you step out of your comfort zone, take up space, and reach new heights. So maybe the comfort zone is keeping you chained to patterns that aren't serving you. So reach new heights, escape from that devil. I can just see the Hierophant maintaining an apothecary cabinet. Can't you? I think the Hermit would too. How beautiful. Within you live the hidden, the things that want nothing more than to swallow you whole. Ooh, now that would be a good message with the Devil card. But speaking of the hidden, maybe that's bringing out the shadow of the Hermit, the things that make us withdrawn and isolated and can let those inner demons get the best of us. So we actually want to emerge from that. Queen of the Dead with 5 of Cups. Are you serious? Fear not the rage of fire living within, for it is the power of your fierceness waiting to taste you fully. Oh, so sweet. Gosh, I love this deck. This Mabon Oracle might be my favorite one of the whole series. I love them all, but I really, really love this. And Imbolc maybe would be second to that. But yes, I said that I was going to go faster, and yes, I'll try. Mountain Cabin. There are times when solitude can be healing and enlightening. With this solitary raven in those healing waters. Oh my God. Corn maze. Although your path is unclear, it is there waiting for your faith to lead you. With the star. Yeah. You picking up what I'm laying down here? Like, yeah, amazing. There is the star to light your path. Corn maze, how fun is that? I love this deck. I love this deck. This one actually gives me more Halloween feels than the Samhain Oracle. That's a different vibe for me. Like, as far as like, ooh, the fun, cozy spirit of it, of spooky season, I get that more from this deck. Tobacco, feed your ancestors, raise the sacred smoke to them, for they are hungry to connect. Neat, with strength. Oh, gosh. Yeah. Okay, I said I was going to go faster. I just think Both of these decks together and individually, I just freaking adore. So anyway, okay, I would move on. Doot, doot. The Raven's Prophecy with the Mabon Oracle. So speaking of Samhain, here we go. The first seasons of the Witch Oracle to land in my greedy little hands. Same for all of us, perhaps, or perhaps not. I guess once they started coming out with the other ones, you might have started off this series with a different season. But for me, it was indeed the Samhain Oracle, and this one's going to seem like a no-brainer, an obvious aesthetic match, but also just that feel of the spooky season and really being deep within it. My go-to for this deck is the Horror Tarot. So obviously I've edged mine in red. And so now these both are just like these scarlet beauties beside each other with the black and red. So pretty. But yeah, when I say that Mabon feels more like Halloween to me, just kind of like in the spirit of it and how it's actually celebrated, you know, like if you are going to a pumpkin patch and drinking the apple cider and just starting to digest scary movies and stories and whatnot, just that like playful coziness of it. We're like in Samhain, we're really descending into the dark interior of that. This doesn't feel so much like an outward observance as an inward reflection, introspection, going deep. And the Horror Tarot, accordingly, I think reflects that really well. Some of the shadow that we can find within, facing some fears, grappling with death. Here we have Haunted with, ooh, I love this Empress card. I love this Empress card. If there's going to be a pregnant Empress, this is the way to do it. Her giving birth to an octopus creature. Let's see what it says for this. This is when, again, the blurb was a little bit of poetry. The breaking of the floor beneath your naked feet, the creaking of the walls as the cold kisses flesh. You're never really alone when in the company of hauntings within bone. And this is a haunting thing that was like literally within her bones just a second ago before it came out. But here we've got the altar beside this witch, the Queen of Pentacles. It looks like it's her altar, right? This horned woman beside this horned woman, yes, different types of horns. These are more like antlers, but it still gives a bit of a visual parallel. Cauldron with justice. Rooted, may you never tear the living ritual that is magic merged within the roots of your being, the soil of your soul. Three of Wands. So there's like expansion here, but like a call for remaining rooted. So maybe no matter where your path takes you, it's always grounded in something true to you. The ancestors, if your ancestor is a werewolf, awesome. Does that run in the family then? Or do you really just need to be bit? In any case, you can see where these make for quite a match. They're a mood, man. They're a mood. Oh, wouldn't it have been cool? I mean, obviously, these are just being pulled at random. This would be so on the nose, but hey. How creeped out would you be if you drew both of those? And maybe that's the thing too, like the Mabon Oracle, I don't find to be creepy, even if there's like haunting cards in there. But this one, we get a little creepier. Queen of Wands with the Banshee. Oh, freaking love that. Or if you pulled this with a werewolf. Again, I know that that's like so obvious, it's so on the nose, but I'm having fun. Can you tell I'm having fun? Can you tell I love this time of year? Ooh, greet the darkness. This is 9 of Cups. Oh God, the creepy clown. Oop. Oh, but here we've got Hanged Man with intuition. I like that. So, all right. All right. You get it. You see why I like this. Oh, this is one of my favorite cards. It's just great. All right. I like it too much. I can't stop myself. So the Horror Tarot paired with the Samhain Oracle. Finally, circling back round to winter, here we are with the Yule Oracle going into that winter solstice. If you have seen my Bibliofancy series, where I read a story and then do a tarot and oracle reading to give us a message to take away from that story, when I cover the Yuletide, I use this oracle in tandem with an obvious pairing, the Christmas tarot. So that is a clear pairing, right? To pair a Yule deck with a Christmas deck, or a Yule deck, as I've mentioned before, when I visit the States for Christmas, I have a copy of the Yuletide Tarot at my mom's house because that's where I always am at Christmas time. And so then I'll use my Christmas Tarot when I'm here, and then I'll use the Yuletide Tarot when I'm there, both with this. So those are the clear pairings. And of course they go well together because 'tis the season. But the less obvious pairing, and actually the first pairing that I ever did with this oracle, I believe when I first got it, is probably a less obvious choice because it's not a winter deck. It's not a Christmas deck. I still, though, have always had this pull to it, though, in conjunction with the Yule Oracle, and that is the Dreaming Way Tarot. Now, bear in mind that my copy is trimmed. It originally had white borders, which I didn't hate. I actually like the size and dimension of it trimmed, so I wanted to try it that way. It's mass market. I figured if I didn't like it, it's affordable enough to get another one with the borders, but I've enjoyed it like this thus far. And not the greatest match back-wise, but I mean, the greenness is not bad either. And this kind of looks like, garland, orbicular ornaments, perhaps. So anyways, yeah, Dreaming Way Tarot. This is actually probably my favorite pairing with this deck, which is why I am sharing it today, even though I can't articulate for you why I feel it so much, but it just is one that I like to use in the winter, even though, there are some wintry scenes in it, but it's not all winter. You'll see, springy, summery things too, but I don't know if it's just something with like the fine line work of the art and the color scheme. They just go together. They're just a visual match. And I'm not even looking at messages yet, I guess. As for the cards themselves, but just aesthetically, I feel this in the winter. I feel this in the winter, particularly that early winter. I'll start using Imbolc as soon as January, maybe mid-January. I will still use this going into the new year for sure. But like Ace of Swords with chills. Just feels like a chilly card. Just real sharp clarity. Like the blade of the sword goes with the quartz crystal point in her crown. Crone. I know it's not the message of the crone, but I can see the stodginess that could give a Four of Pentacles energy there. But like, look at this. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is a case in point. Look at their dresses. Okay, it's not the same dress, but that white and that fine, thin lined detailing. I feel like the fashion is a match between these two decks. Offerings, Queen of Wands. If you or someone else is embodying this energy, what is the offering? Silent night. If by night the world should sleep, a sleep so deep, the silence be deafening, there would sound nothing at all nothing would sound. Just that silence, I can feel that in a Four of Cups for sure. Oh, look, with the Three of Swords, just when your heart is pierced, there's squirt medicine. I love that there's a medicine card showing up for a Three of Swords, just when you really need healing so that you can grow. Look at this. It's like it's not the same. They're wearing candles on their heads, but it just, the height of that just kind of parallels that crown on this Queen of Pentacles. Oh, Six of Swords with Hearth. I love this card, as you probably know from previous videos. May your warmth take in the gazing flame upon the shivers, they melt away. That's what you hope for. That's what the kind of hearth and home you're hoping to get to in the Six of Swords. King of Swords is the star. Follow the stars, for they know best. Not too light, not too dark, a shimmer of what is coming next. I mean, that's a King of Swords, if you consider. Go to for guidance. They know best. Wow, darkest hour. It's like the Chariot's about to just plow through that. Screw that dark. I'm finding my way through it, finding the light. Remembering, that can certainly be in an Ace of Cups space. That's a heart space thing, I think. You just feel that inner ache when you're, I don't know. This just immediately connoted for me, like remembering lost loved ones, maybe. Just anything in the past, just that kind of keen nostalgia, but who knows? I don't know what the guidebook has to say about it, but that's what I just kind of got. Wise men with the King of Pentacles. And this is like a green man. How perfect. I mean, I think if I was going to call the green man one of the kings, it'd be King of Pentacles for that nature. Spirit of it. God, I love that. So, yes. Oh, snow. Five of Pentacles, so often depicted in the snow. This one isn't, but you still just get that kind of feeling. Ooh, the Passion of the Wands, falling in love. Okay. I can go on and on and on here, but as you see, I just feel that like artistically, these are very much in keeping. I get very wintry feels from both of them, and they're both just great decks. They talk to each other. they complement each other as far as their actual meanings go. I'm just seeing the 3 wands with these 3 women's here for solstice. All hail the cunning truth in which it burns deep within root. Rise above the ashes and claim the gods are awaiting your glory, your name. It's kind of an emergence to claim what's yours. Emerging in the 3 of wands also. All right. But see, like, this is a winter scene. Looks like to me anyway. Then we have cardinal medicine, judgments, just those wings. You are worth all the seas and all the skies and all the desires you hold inside. So just being called to know your true worth, what you can really be here. Oh my gosh. Okay. It's just when I think I'm going to stop. But look, contemplation with 4 of swords. Love it. Okay, let's stop there. It's my final pairing with the Seasons of the Witch Oracle series, closing with the Dreaming Way Tarot and the Yule Oracle. And so there it is, the Seasons of the Witch Oracle series in its entirety, now available. I realize that these decks are not everyone's thing, but they are certainly mine. So thank you, Marlena, for doing your video sharing your pairings on this and welcoming our thoughts on it as well. I hope you received this VR as a thank you for that, even though I know you didn't specifically set yours up as a tag, but I couldn't help myself. I loved your video. I loved looking through my pairings, the ones I already love and trust work well together, as well as feeling out some of the new ones. And so for anyone else interested in this, if you have any of these decks, have some favorite pairings of your own, have some that you're keen to try out, I highly encourage you to please, please, please see Marlena's video if you haven't already. I will link that into the description below. And offer her, whether it's a video response or just leaving it in the comments, what you would choose. And feel free to do so here as well. I would certainly love to hear it too. Okay, then, may it be a blessed year ahead for one and all, whatever the seasons may bring us as the wheel turns. Bye-bye.